Hello, everybody. Of course, I am here, Doc G, and this is Discussing the Patches with Ann Ziegenhorn, Stem Cell Activation Specialist. And everybody out there listening, if you're listening on HamiltonRadio.net or let's see, YouTube or Facebook, you can put any questions you have in the comments, and we will get the comments, okay? Anybody on the radio that's listening, you can send an email to gdpent1@yahoo.com. I'll put it up on the display screen as well. So when you do, I will forward your information to Miss Ann. Okay, Ann, it's all yours.
Hey there, it's Ann Ziegenhorn coming in from Florida. Lillian will be here tonight. She is back from Spain. So I guess whenever you see her, matter of fact, she's coming in now. Hey, Lillian.
How are we doing, everybody? Good to see you, Ann and Doc G.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Likewise.
For both ladies.
Well, we're going to just do a half-hour show, but in order to share it, so I don't know, Lillian, while I'm talking for a second, if you want to go on Facebook and share it, and then I'll let you speak for a moment, and I'll go share it because Doc gave us the link, and so now we can go share it across our social media.
Okay, so you're saying to share the StreamYard link?
No, not the StreamYard link.
Which link?
Go to, do you have a text for her?
I'll send it to her.
Okay.
I will send it
All right,
to you.
everybody. All right, everybody. So Lillian's back. She was in Spain for 2.5, almost 3 weeks, and with her parents. And she's got some great information about that. Lillian and I had done some trips over to Punta Mita, Mexico, and then we were in Orlando, Florida, where we were able to partake of the X2O water system, which we're super excited about. And then we have a health fair coming up this weekend, and Lillian is getting ready to hop on a plane to come to me. So we will be together this whole weekend with some of our other team members, and wanted to discuss everything that's been going on. And then we have a trip coming up in October to Anaheim, California, which is just up the street from Lillian. But Sir Elton John will be playing a private concert for all of us who go to that event. And then there's also a surprise guest that obviously it's a surprise, so we don't know who it is. So Lillian, if you will take it away, tell everybody, since you've been gone, who you are, what you do, and what your titles are.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, nobody cares about my titles. I don't even care about my titles. But more importantly, what do I do? Where do I do it? And what benefit does it give you? That's the most important part. So what do I do? I'm a stem cell activation specialist. Both Ann and I, we help people activate your previously dormant cells in the body, specifically your master cells that were there at conception, which are known as stem cells. And we have this FDA cleared device. It's a general wellness medical device that activates those by applying them on different strategic acupuncture points on the body. So why should you even care about that? Well, let me tell you, I don't know about you, but I don't really know that many 89-year-olds that are running around. I don't care if it's in the United States, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Dubai, Asia, that can go from morning until 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning, every day for 2.5 to 3 weeks, even climb 9 flights of stairs for a 9-story home and get all the way to the rooftop without a cane, a walker, a wheelchair, any assistance. Yeah, they took breaks every time they got to the next level, right? But we all do, right? And they made it all 9 flights of stairs. That would be my parents. Now, let's put a little pause button there. We're going to rewind 3 years ago. Because 3 years ago, now I'm going to do a double pause button because we're going back to 3 years ago, but I do need to tell you that we don't make any medical claims. We don't make medical claims. We don't heal. We don't cure. We don't treat. We don't diagnose. And we don't offer any kind of protocols. We do have suggestions as to the optimal places to put these patches on strategic acupuncture points. We do have that. And we can repair, restore, and regenerate all sorts of things. And we can support the body, giving it already has everything it needs inside. But there's things that have taken a nap, and now we're taking them out of retirement and turning them back on is what we're doing. And 3 years ago, let's rewind the videotape of all of our lives to 3 years ago to 2022. And in the fall of 2022, my dad was told that he had prostate cancer for the second time. And if that wasn't bad enough, my mother was then told that she had breast and lymphatic cancer in her left breast and her left armpit. And she also had shingles at the same time. Horrible. She had probably openings on her spine the size of quarters, and it was terribly painful. And you can only imagine the amount of stress that gave both of them, and neither of them would admit to each other that they had the big C, because my parents are kind of, as I've gotten older, I realize they really are trailblazers. They've understood that thoughts become things, and that you create with your mind and your words. And as you say things out loud, then, you solidify and make things true in the positive or the negative. So one of the first things my mom did was, this is just like not even a week before she already had this surgery scheduled. She showed me her pathology report. The pathology, the biopsy had been done in December, and now it's February. It's the Thursday before her surgery, which was on a Tuesday. And she showed me the pathology report. And then there was a pamphlet from her doctor, what you need to know about breast cancer. And she pointed to that and she said, you're not allowed to say that out loud, and you're not allowed to tell your father anything about this. Because she didn't want my father to worry, needless to say, but she also didn't want to solidify and create that and make it a greater reality. She understood that, right? My dad, on the flip side, didn't show me his pathology report. He didn't let us know anything that was going on, but our female intuition, we're like, wait a minute, why is he going to all these doctor's appointments? We quickly put 2 and 2 together. And then I told my little brother, we need to have a sit down, face-to-face intervention with dad. And we need to tell him, hey, you need to let us help you, because we know you can't deny that something's going on. We know. So we don't want to make believe that the elephant's not sitting in the living room. We don't have to mention the big C, but we do need to know more specifically what's going on. So needless to say, let me tell you what happened with my mom, and I'll tell you then what happened with my dad. So with my mom, that was the Thursday before. Her surgery was on that Tuesday. So we did manage to reduce her tumor size like 10 times smaller prior to her surgery. It was only, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, just 6 days before. I feel that if I'd had a little more time, we could have probably knocked it all together out, but we didn't. She waited till Thursday to tell me. So, and then that's when I was there in person. As soon as she told me, I jumped in my car and went over there. So long story short, we started her on the patches, and we did get to shrink the tumor size. And I told her, I'm like, well, before they do the surgery on Tuesday, you might want to have your doctor rescan you and double check, because you may not even need the surgery, especially since we basically barely can tell. We're like, there might be a little point, maybe none at all. Turned out the biopsy showed that it was 0.6, which was 10 times smaller than what it was when they measured it in December. So long story short, the thing is, she did not have to have chemo. She did not have to have radiation. At the time she was on 4 meds, she had high blood pressure, AFib, tachycardia. She would get very nervous, and she had a lot of anxiety and PTSD over all of this. She was also on naproxen for the anxiety. She was also on gabapentin, which is a horrific drug. She was still in horrible pain despite the fact that she was on gabapentin. And then she was on one other med for incontinence because she couldn't hold her urine in. And obviously the nerve that's in the bladder, she could no longer sense her need to urinate. And so that's a common thing with a lot of, not just elderly, even women who have babies, right? and she's had 3. So fast forward, I'd say about 8 months later, she was completely pain-free. It didn't happen overnight. 1 year after she started on the patches, now I'm going to have you guys rewind to 5 years ago, prior to her having this diagnosis. 5 years prior, she was told that she had osteoporosis and that she needed to be on osteoporosis medication, which she hemmed and hawed because she doesn't like taking meds and so forth. But she was being pressured, because she's a woman in her 80s, to take osteoporosis meds. And I kept on telling her, no, that's ridiculous. Yes, you're petite and you're small boned, but there's no need. You know, all mammals lose bone density as we age. So a year after she had been on the patches, and our scientific studies show that we increase bone density, lean muscle mass, and strength. We have more than one study that shows that. I've read all 90 studies more than once, and a few other studies that some of the doctors in our group that Anne is very familiar with. They've also done clinical studies on their patients, and they've published them both on PubMed and Google Scholar, and even presented those studies to the American Heart Association and to a group of cardiac surgeons, cardiologists. So anyhow, going back to this, a year almost to the day, it's a Sunday, she's coming home from church, and my parents live in a tri-level home. They've been there for 40 years. The nice thing of a tri-level home is that you have to go up and down stairs to get to the family room. You go to the main level, and then you have to go upstairs. So they're going up and down the stairs 30, 40 times a day. My mom doesn't work out, but she works out by living in her home, because she has to go up and down the stairs, take the laundry, take it down, just living, right? They never moved out of it to a 1-story. They just continued with that, which is a good thing, because it's kind of the only exercise she gets other than watering the very large garden that they have. Well, she happened to miss the last 3 steps on her stairs. And our family room is all ceramic tile. Now, tell me what you know of people north of 70 who fall from their own feet, let alone missing a stair, 2 stairs, or 3 stairs. We all know that the majority of them break a hip. And in my experience, oftentimes they not only break a hip, sometimes they break both hips, or they'll break a hip and arms, or a hip and a wrist and a shoulder. It's usually a multiple fracture situation. She twisted her right ankle. She landed straight on her left shin. I am here to tell you that she did not even have a hairline fracture on the shin that she landed on. She had a massive hematoma. It was all black and blue, and at first it was all red and then filled with blood and so forth, because of course it was bleeding under where she landed. But she had no fracture, not even a hairline fracture, and she was checked more than once through x-rays and so forth, which is incredible, which goes to show she obviously doesn't have osteoporosis. In that year, her bone density obviously increased enough to the point where her bones were solid, even though she fell. Yeah, she had muscle damage, she had nerve damage, but she didn't have any bone damage. She didn't have any breakage, which is incredible. She didn't have breakage on her legs and her hands that she used to guard herself. She didn't have any broken fingers, nothing. It was just the bruising from the fall. So now let's fast forward a year after she's been patching. And of course, so that was a little bit of a setback, because now she had pain actually just for the first 24 hours after the fall. And then after that, I strategically patched her legs and so forth, her twisted ankle and the left one, the top part of her body. She didn't have any pain. And then after the first 24 hours, she never had pain again, knock on wood. So now let's fast forward. She's been totally fine this past two years, where she really hasn't had anything. She's only been on 1 med, which is just for the urinary, incontinence. Other than that, she's totally fine. No longer any heart issues, no high blood pressure, no tachycardia, etc. My dad had prostate cancer 10 years ago, and now this resurfaced. About the same time frame, August of 2022. It was so severe, based on what the doctor had told him, that not only did he pay for all of his funeral arrangements, land, casket. He even bought flowers. It was that eminent. He bought flowers. When my brother and I had our sit down face to face, hey, Dad, we know what's going on. He revealed to us that everything was paid for. He had just bought the flowers because he figured he didn't have much time left based on what he was told. Guess what? 5 weeks before we left on August 5th to Spain, his doctor verified his PSA level was 0.0. 0.0 is the level of a 30-year-old. And my father turned 89 September 29th.
Amazing.
It is really remarkable. It really is a dream come true. I know that without this life-saving technology, neither of them probably would be here. And instead, not only are they here, we were able to, my mom hasn't been back to Palma de Mallorca in over 60 years. And since before she was married, because she came to California never expecting to stay here. She was trying to learn American English instead of British English. And then she met the man of her dreams and got married. And then I came along and my two brothers came along. So to be able to, I expected them to have multiple naps a day because they're 89, my goodness. But they just had one nap every afternoon. We would get up around 8. My mom's kind of slow in the morning. So, get up at 8:30 in the morning. By 10:30 in the morning, all three of us were ready to go. We're usually waiting on my mom. We're like, hey, Mom, we got to get going, By 10:30, she's ready to go. She's all dolled up because she's, we're both vain. That's where I get it from. We want to have our hair and everything look all nice. And then we'd go out and get brunch. And then we'd go sightseeing. Then in the latter afternoon, they're like, okay, I think we've had enough. It's like we'd like to take a little bit of a nap. They take a little bit of a nap, and then we'd go back out again. And as you may or may not know, in the old country in Spain, they have dinner. Usually the typical dinner time is about 10 o'clock at night, 10:30, 11. So we'd leave about 9:30. We would go out to dinner, and we were out till like 1:30. And then we'd do it all over again. And other than the day that I had my cell phone stolen, which I think was God's protection, because who knows? I suspect that maybe it was bugged, and that's why God allowed someone to steal it from me. And I ended up with another new cell phone. That's another story altogether. But the bottom line is it took hours for it to charge and then hours to program it and so forth. So that day, they basically just rested all day and watched Spanish TV and European TV all day long. So they just had one down day because I was tied to the computer and to the phone. Had it not been for that, I think we would have, because we were slated to do some other sightseeing. But from morning until 1:30 in the morning, they had no jet lag. That's the other thing. I was just talking to my dad today. For those of you who struggle with jet lag, I do not. But for those who struggle with jet lag, I will tell you that one of the things that I learned a while back is that you can use Ice Wave to keep you from having jet lag. It's not just to turn off pain receptors, but because Ice Wave pulls and pushes energy. As it pulls and pushes the energy, it affects your circadian rhythms. And so you can use it to keep you from having seasickness if you're in a boat, or if you are flying, it'll keep you from having jet lag. So I patched both of them up when we left here. We got, it's a 5-hour flight from here to Chicago and then 9 hours from Chicago to Spain. We got there, didn't skip a beat. Neither of them, 89-year-olds, did not have jet lag. The three of us were jet lag free. When we came back, I patched them up again with the Ice Wave. They didn't have jet lag coming back either. They were a little bit tired, the first couple of days and stuff, but not jet lag. My dad today was commenting on he goes, this is incredible, to travel that distance, because my dad's traveled all over the world, to Israel, to Korea, to all over the place. And he's like, I had zero jet lag. And I'm like, awesome. So you guys, it's energy, the crystals. Why don't you talk a little bit, Anne, about the crystals and how the frequencies are programmed, because you're really good at that.
So in the patch itself, David has organic salt, organic sugar, organic hydrogen molecule, and and water molecule. and he etched them into the white or brown section of the patch. Now, two of the sets of the patches, the Energy Enhancer and the Ice Wave, both have a positive and negative pull. And so those ones are 2-patch systems. Then the other patches are, so right and left, and I'm holding the camera, so I can show you. I have one there. So I've got the tan one on the other side. So that's my positive and negative Energy Enhancer. And then I have a patch here. So you have your X39. A lot of times, so the test spot is the back of the neck or below the belly button. But technically, we can place it in other places and it still works just fine. And of course, it's in my midline. So it is right up and down my spine. And that is about the spot. That's the GV14 on the back of the neck. So here I have it right here instead. So y'all can see it. He etched them in, laser etched those crystals in, and it has frequencies in it. And when it hits your skin, immediately 30% of your dormant cells wake up, and it's using the heat of your skin and the infrared light within our bodies, because we are energy. And with that, that's what wakes things up. It's the GHK copper peptides, according to our studies, double blind, peer review, and the patent. So this is a patent product. That in turn wakes up our cells in order for them to give us back our life. In my personal humble opinion, I look younger now than I did 5 years ago. I've been on the patches for just over 2 years, 2 years and 3 months to be exact, as of yesterday. And it's been phenomenal for me. So I've told my story the past couple of weeks. People have got to hear it over and over. If you haven't heard my story, we'll talk later. We're doing a shorter show today just because Lillian's going to be catching a flight to come to me. And so we can do a health fair this weekend. So we'll be doing a health fair on Saturday and Sunday. And but these frequencies and crystals are what helps the body be the best body it can be.
So my friends and gems, I know that some of you guys are probably wondering, it's like these two 89-year-old, it was kind of funny because as I got to watch my parents during these almost 3 weeks that we traveled together, I would come into the room and I would see them patching each other, and my mom can't get all of her patches off by herself because her skin is on the drier side. And so she's like, Tony, please get my patches off. And then, he'll at the end of the day, he'd always help, peel the patches off. My mom doesn't necessarily wear them all in a strip. She has them in different places of her body based on, what she's got going on. And, but she's very specific, very methodical. She's a teacher. So, teachers are very, systems oriented. And so it was really cute to see the patches all peppered all over them. And yes, for those of you who are wondering, well, what patches did they wear? They're 89. My goodness. How did you get those effects? Because that they wore Ice Wave, not for pain, but they wore it to keep, they didn't wear Ice Wave every day. They only wear it on the way to and on the way back. Now, my dad did have to wear Ice Wave probably, I want to say 4 or 5 days before coming back because of we had some pretty big hikes and some pretty big hills. So then he was starting to get a little bit of lower back pain. And then he was carrying a fanny pack that was probably a little bit too heavy around his waist. So he's starting to complain of a little bit of, achiness and pain from that. So yeah, I did put Ice Wave on his lower back because he had X39 and X49 at the base of his spine. And then I put Ice Wave on the lower left and the lower right. And then he was good to go. And so they wore the Fantastic Five. So that's 39, 49, glutathione, carnosine, and they also wore they still wear SP6. They've been wearing that pretty much for the last 3 years. My mom wears Energy Enhancer. My dad doesn't wear Energy Enhancer. He's a pretty energetic guy. And at 89, he still works out at LA Fitness with 2 other guys. So he doesn't really feel that he needs Energy Enhancer. Ice Wave is as needed, and he did need it a little bit when we were there in Spain for a few days. But other than that, they were pretty much good to go. So you guys, this is a technology that works for everybody, for every mammal. Doesn't matter if you're a human, if you're a cat, a dog, a horse. We've had, it's an over-the-counter. It's not a medicine. It's a device. It's like a Band-Aid. So if a mother decides, okay, I'm going to put a Band-Aid on you, or I'm going to give you something else that's over the counter, a mother can choose to put this on her baby. I've had babies as young as 6 months old who we've taken just the X39, put it on the baby's neck. And this one particular baby has been having its whole little tiny short life, was having gastrointestinal issues and would not sleep well and was very restless. And the first day that she put the X39 on the baby's neck, immediately within 30 minutes, that baby was able to go to sleep and slept through the night, and that baby got relief. So we're here to help you guys. Doc G, Ann, and I are passionate. We have found our calling. This is what we were born for. We've all experienced pain, all three of us. I wouldn't trade my pain for Ann's. I'm very aware of the details that Ann experienced, and I know that I don't know 100% of it, but I know enough of it to know that it's like a horror show, what she had to experience for 10 years. Unbelievable that any human being could survive that kind of pain and all those medical procedures. She's so well now that it's hard to believe there's no way you could have gone through that and look this good. Well, that's the power of this technology. Yeah. We're able to regrow and regenerate things inside the body because the body has that. That's part of, nothing is stagnant. Nothing is permanent. We can regrow things in the body. It's part of the normal balance. Even when you die, your body is still changing and balancing in the decay process until you go to dust. Once you go to dust, now it's finally, then that's it. So you just need to be aware of that. And Gino has had his pain points too. Yep. So it's pain. We have all suffered pain. It's pain with a purpose. Now that pain serves as a launch board for us to show you how the pain that you're going through is not in vain. It's not permanent. It doesn't have to get infinitely worse. It can get infinitely better, like it did for Ann, like it did for me, like it did for Doc G. And I got to tell you, Ann, you see her on this camera, every time you see her in the videos, and she's always glowing and radiant and beautiful. When you see her in person, you're like, good God, your skin really is, her skin glows when you see her in person. Her eyes are clear. The whites of her eyes are clear, which is an indicator that her kidneys are working really well. I will tell you from a medical, not diagnosing, but I do have certifications in traditional Chinese medicine, face reading and diagnosis. She's radiant. She really is radiant, and her hair is shiny. I got to tell you, she's as beautiful, if not more beautiful, in person. I'm not just trying to ego stroke. Every one of us who knew her through video first, and then we see her in person, we're like, your skin glows. Oh my gosh. And her teeth are so white and her hair is so shiny. So you guys, it really is possible for her. It's possible for you. It's been possible for me. It's possible for Doc G. It's possible for, we all pay the price no matter what. You either pay the price continuing in pain, or you pay the price, so you spend a few dollars, because it is a few dollars relatively speaking. I've had people who are paying $4,400 a month for, I think, Ann, you got to meet Danielle Mann in Orlando, and Danielle was spending $4,400 a month for her MS drug.
Medicines. Yeah.
Yeah, because she had progressive aggressive MS since 2014. And then within a couple months, starting on these patches, she was able to get out of her wheelchair. She lost 24 pounds, 4 inches from her waist, because then she was like the Energizer Bunny. Couldn't keep her down because she could walk everywhere. And to this day, she walks about 12,000 steps a day. She still wears her pedometer, and she saves about $4,400 a month. Instead of $4,400, she takes about $329, $350 a month. She gets her patches because she's on the Fantastic Five. She might get a few extras here and there, but I'd say $350 to $400 a month. She's still saving over $4,000 a month. I have many people who save from $700 to, she's probably the highest, $4,400. I have quite a few I had somebody who had a $30,000 prescription. And I was like, $30,000? $30,000. Your doctor told you it was $30,000 for 1 month or a year. They're like, for 1 month. And I'm like,
Yeah. Wow.
that's totally unacceptable. And with we don't have a guarantee on this either, but there's no guarantee with the 30 grand. And what is it going to do to your kidney and your liver? You shouldn't have two. You should only have one.
Yeah.
Liver. If you have two, it'll fix that too.
Well, and one of the other things too is it can be as low as $99 a month. And that I wanted to stress that I didn't want everybody to think that $329 is the set. So it is, we tailor it to you. We will talk to you. We will go and customize what your body needs because different things are needed. And the one master patch that we have is wholesaled at $99. It's originally retailed for $149. But when you join forces with us, we are on a doctor's wholesale pack. So we're able to get it less expensive. And do not go to Amazon, eBay. Those aren't our patches. David Schmidt's very clear about he only sells through brand partners. He does not sell through stores or third-party online services. So I do want to stress that as well because people will go purchase those things and many times pay more. Yeah, many times they'll pay more because they didn't realize there was a lower rate through the brand partners. And so,
and you don't know what those are laced with because most of them have Chinese writing. They're coming from China. Yeah. Now you're putting toxins that you're like really risking. You're gambling with your health. They could be laced with drugs for all you know. You really don't know. So you need to get them. You're not buying them through us. We're just the order takers. So we're the educators. You're getting them directly from where they're being manufactured, whether you're in the United States, if you're in Australia, New Zealand, or you're in Europe, or you're in Asia, or you're in the Middle East. We have 15 distribution centers throughout the world. So you're going to get it from the distribution center that's closest to wherever you live. And it's coming from our facilities that are regulated, managed, and made, directly. We're the only source. So that's super important. And I'm glad that you brought that up, Anne.
Yes. So I did want to let you know if you're interested. Dr. G put his email on there. Lillian has her cell phone up there. Reach out, whether it's texting, calling Lillian, or emailing Dr. G, GDP Pent 1. So GDPENT1, the number 1 at yahoo.com. And he'll forward the email to me and we will get in touch with you. Give us 24 hours. It's usually less than that, but in case it's at night, then obviously the next day. But we're really good about getting back in touch with you. Lillian's going to be hopping on a flight here shortly, so she'll be with me. We'll be doing some lives on Facebook together. And if you have any questions at all, let us know. And Cesar, I saw, was on here. Cesar's on the patches. He was in an accident in 2022 and has been confined to a wheelchair. And he had been starting to do some exercises to try to stand up over the past several months. And he started the patches. It will be 2 weeks tomorrow. And he stood up and did a Facebook Live the other day and stood there for, I don't know exactly how long, a minute and a half. And he's super excited. So, hey, Cesar, I saw you were on here.
I'm so excited for you, Cesar. That is so awesome. So we got to keep on rooting Cesar. He just needs to keep on drinking his water and applying his patches daily. And he's going to start to see more and more improvement as his body starts to repair more. So that is extremely exciting to see that. One last thing I want to make sure that everybody knows, 2 things. Make sure that when you reach out to Doc G, you mention the Doc G promo, because there is the Doc G promo. And you want to make sure that, it's the only place that it's available. If you go directly to the website, you're not going to find it. Even if you put Dr. G's, pull up, Jean DiPiero, you won't be able to get it because it's not available directly on the site. That's something that we have to, through the back office. We literally have to unlock the algorithm in order to do that. So it's unique to this show. The second thing that I was going to say about this is that not everybody, and Anne did a brilliant expose, I'm going to say, just a few days ago on Facebook, where she talked about everything she didn't feel, because she was literally knocking on death's door when she started on the patches. And so she first put the patches on, and the heavens didn't part. She didn't feel an earthquake. She didn't have vibrations going through her body. She talks about how she didn't really feel anything the first minute, the first hour, the first day, the first week, the first month. Do you want to elaborate a little on that? Because I think that's extremely important for people to know.
Well, I didn't feel my hair growing. I didn't feel it darkening back up. It took my daughter, who's a cosmetologist who does my hair, to say, Mom, we took you to gray and now I've got to put brown back in it because your hair is growing back brown, especially on the back side. Then it started growing faster. I didn't feel my fingernails growing any faster, but not only were they growing faster, they were growing stronger. I didn't feel the moment my nerves that were on fire stopped. It was just, I suddenly didn't notice it. I had weak to no muscle, because that's one of the things that breast implant illness does to us. It can take our muscles away. And I had a 7 hernia repair, which means they had put a stent in me, which gave me the same reaction that breast implants did. So they ended up having to reconstruct using my own blood vessels, to which they told me not to lift anything over 5-10 pounds at the most. So I can't just go lift weights and exercise like people do. Mine is having to just use, just trying to see if my muscles would come back. Since wearing the patches, my muscle strength has improved and inflammation starts to go down for me. And so again, we're not making any medical claims. So I want to stress that. I didn't feel my thyroid starting to work again. They had ablated it, which means they shrunk it down to raisin size. So when they had to reduce my medicine, they had to do an ultrasound, which then showed my thyroid was plumping back up. I didn't feel my eyes get better. I just knew that my vision was going blurry with the contact strength that I have in. And my doctor surprised me. And again, I've been on the patches for just over 2 years now. Just last month, I guess maybe 6 weeks now, she says, oh, this eye's gotten better. We need to reduce the strength. So guys, that took over 2 years for that to happen for me. So they do continue to do things that are beneficial to my body. So you just don't feel things happening. It just all of a sudden it does. So I didn't feel my hands and feet waking back up because they were already numb and tingling. So all of a sudden they were no longer numb and tingling, which then allowed me to go back to work as a dental hygienist, which you need that tactile sensitivity to feel the calculus below the gum line with our fingertips. Well, I couldn't feel that for over 7.5 years. So just things like that. I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it. It's all of a sudden I didn't notice that was happening. So just because I didn't feel something in the beginning, I kept wearing the patches because Lillian said, please give it 6 months. Please don't use 30 days and then stop.
Yeah.
And it was the 4.5 month mark when my hands and feet woke up. 6 month mark, my liver enzymes went to normal. My kidney function went to normal. And 6.5 months when they did the ultrasound on my thyroid. And again, over 2 years for my vision to all of a sudden, we have to drop contact lens strength instead of increase it. And I look younger now.
Yeah.
So I look younger now than what I did 5 years ago. So there's something going on. There's something to this.
There is something to this. And Anne we were together in Punta Mita. I was so taken aback because I never anticipated. I've been wearing glasses since I was 5 years old. Okay. I had eye surgery when I was 5 years old. My entire life, I've worn prescription glasses. And I did not take my prescription glasses. I had noticed that my eyesight had improved some. And I just decided, I'm not going to really have time to read there's so much going on. So I decided not to take my prescription glasses with me, and I left them. And then one evening, Anne saw me kind of going like this, trying to, read, because I could read without my glasses. I noticed that because I could not do that before, but now I could. And I had noticed in my car that now when I look at my dashboard, it's like, I didn't need my glasses to read the dashboard. Everything was crystal clear. And even the signs for like that are at the stop sign, not the stop sign, but at the light, whenever you have a sign, it used to be that I couldn't see that as well. I would pass it and I'm like, oh crap, that was I would see it after the fact. As I crossed it, I could see it. But now from a distance, I could see it. So I knew my eyes had improved, but I didn't know to what degree. So we are in Punta Mita, and she sees me kind of doing this number to see, because it's nighttime and it's kind of a little on the darker side. She goes, "Hey girl, just use my readers." I'm like, "Oh no, you don't understand. I need prescription. Little readers, that are over the counter, that's not going to work. I need heavier, much heavier prescription." And she's like, "Just go ahead and try them." So I put them on, and I was like, "Oh my God, they're perfect." I was like, "I could read perfectly with these, with your readers. How is that possible?" So I'm looking at them, and they're like +3 1/4. I'm like, "There's no freaking way. I can actually see with readers, like from the pharmacy." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I was a kid in the candy shop. I was like, "I no longer need prescription glasses." So she's like, "Oh, just go ahead and keep them." I'm like, "Oh, no, I can't do that." She insisted. So she actually gifted me those glasses, which I have them. They're black and they have 3 little diamonds. So I use them actually more for special occasions. And then I came home and I ordered these on Amazon. And I bought 4 pairs of these readers for $17. Instead of paying $1,000 for 2 prescriptions, because I couldn't wear just one. I wasn't eligible for bifocals. I needed to have 2 different prescriptions, because in the past, my eyesight after my accident was vacillating and changing so much that I needed 2 separate prescription glasses. And now I don't need them at all. And I just wear these sometimes. And my parents were tripping out in Spain when I told them, I'm like, "Yeah, I don't need prescription glasses anymore. I just use these readers." They're like, "You don't wear prescription." My entire life they've known me. They're like, "How is that possible?" I go, "It's from the patches. It just happened. I just discovered in April when we were in Punta Mita." They're like, "That's incredible." And it's possible for, we don't know what other things are going to improve when we hit the 4-year mark. When we know from Dr. Stacy what the things that have happened with her, which is very exciting for me and for Anne to see her progress. But I can't wait. Oh my gosh, because it's only going to get better when we hit the 5-year mark. And now that we have the water machine, the X2O, OMG, the reports that are coming in, Anne and I are on some special private, this is not public notice, there are private groups. You're not going to find that on any YouTube videos. You're not going to find it even on public forums for Facebook. If you want to go into the Patching Testimonials Global Group, let Doc G know, and then we'll send you the link. You have to give Doc G's name in order to get access. Don't give mine or Anne's. Give Doc G's name for admission. You have to answer the questions, give his name, and then agree to the rules. And then you'll be allowed into that group. Then you'll have all the information about not just the patching testimonials and all that stuff, but also about the X2O water machine. And those testimonials are like within 15 seconds of people drinking the water.
Yep.
It's pretty
amazing.
Yeah. So it comes in, it's an add-on to the patches. Yeah. That's all I have to say for now. I could go for hours, as you guys know.
I know, but you got a plane to catch, and I need you here.
Yes, you do need me here. So thank you, my friends and gems. Gino,
thank you.
We love and adore you. We are so appreciative to be able to work with you.
Yes,
we really are.
As am I. Thank you.
That's a blessing. All right. Well, we will all chat more this weekend. So watch Lillian Walker's Facebook Lives. Watch Ann Gudson Ziegenhorn's Facebook Lives. We'll do some updates, and I'm sure Cesar will be giving his own Facebook Live. And as always, Cesar, make sure you tag me so I can share it with other people as well. Thank you, Doc.
Oh, you're welcome.
See you soon, Lillian.
See you soon.
Take care. Safe plane flight. Okay. I just want to say something real quick, ladies, and then I'll go. How about the radio? IronHorseFilms.net is also, we do cinematography, videography, video editing, audio editing, music videos, movie productions, green screen, audio recording, internet broadcasting, audio book recordings, commercials, documentaries, script readings in the studio, Bible study in the studio, and business events, and much, much more. If you're interested, contact me at gdpent1@yahoo.com. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Love you as well. Thank you.